Hey everybody, Dr. Grant here, and today we are going to be talking about why your ADHD medication is not working for you. So if you have ADHD and you have been having issues with your medication, this might be in your category where you maybe it used to work but not working anymore, or it has never worked for you. So I'm going to explain in three different areas of why this possibly could be. Whenever I have patients that come in and they are looking for a natural way of approaching their ADHD and trying to not use medication or maybe some supportive treatment around because maybe the medication wasn't working in the first place or it stopped working. So let me get into that. So the very first thing I think we need to discuss about this is how does ADHD medications really work and why could it be possibly not being as effective anymore like it should be. So the very first thing is, whenever you're taking a stimulant medication, ADHD medication, you got to think about the neurons. Now, this is definitely a theory of the mechanism of really what's going on. But really the theory around of really what's going on when you're taking an ADHD medication is you think about neurons, you have the sending neuron, and then you have the receiving neuron that are firing back and forth, releasing, dopamine. That's naturally what's supposed to be happening. Now, when you include, get a different color here, include an ADHD medication, what happens is that it blocks the dopamine transporter. So this is the dopamine transporter. And what that does is that should typically naturally should be open and communicating back and forth between the sending and the receiving neurons to let know that like, hey, we have been producing enough dopamine, you could slow down. But what the medication does, it blocks the dopamine transporter. Okay. And so what that does is causing the increase of dopamine concentration at the synapses. Okay. So what it's going to constantly be firing dopamine because it's blocking that pathway. So normally dopamine moves back, to the sending neuron. So it usually moves back to here to receive that information that we're producing enough. But when we add the medication, it blocks that pathway. So over time, it doesn't feel like it needs to be naturally producing as much dopamine as it used to. And so what happens is, we've definitely seen this in research, is that over time, your dopamine output naturally can definitely decrease. And where you can maybe see that your medication is not being effective. So then you have to increase the dosage over time. Now, there's been a research article that pulling up here that was done that they found that through basically exposure with monkeys of amphetamines, so ADHD medications, and also with humans, that there was a produced with long-term effects on the brain, the ability to produce dopamine. So it started to decrease. What they found was there's a significant depletion of dopamine persisted 6 months later, even 1 year, the brain dopamine levels were at 80% of the pre-exposure levels. So at 80% capacity versus 100% capacity. So there's definitely, a drawback when you're doing long-term use of medication, especially if you have to keep on increasing the dosage. So this is definitely one possibility of why you might not see it as effective for you, is because of the mechanism of really what's going on there. Now, another possibility, I'm going to share just an example of one of my patients. Her name was Jen, and she was taking ADHD medications. She was exhausted and unfocused. She could not keep up with work and her demands at work, and then her relationships was struggling as well. And one of the things that I did was I wanted to look, okay, why is the medication not working? Let's look at maybe some further investigation, doing some, looking at our body chemistry to understand really what's going on. And so I ran some different neurotransmitters to see, okay, is it the medication that is the problem here? Is this causing more issues than it should? And sure enough, with her dopamine levels were elevated. And on top of that, even her serotonin levels were elevated and her epinephrine levels were low. And so when I see this, it tells me two things. One, her medication, if we'll actually go back here, her medication is too high, right? It's too high. Like she's taking too much where it's causing this more increase. And when you have too high of dopamine output, it will cause symptoms It can cause exhaustion, but it can also cause anxiety, agitation, irritation, and you still aren't going to get the improvements of focus because it's just too much. Or taking the medication was not the best option, is that her dopamine levels were already elevated to begin with, and taking medication like Adderall or Ritalin would cause that to increase and making her symptoms worse and not improving. And that's why she didn't see it effective. So what we had to do here is help bring these dopamine levels down. And one of the things I do like doing is like improving things within lifestyle, eliminating stressors, improving on nutrients and foods, but also improving, some things that can be helpful with supplementation is things like L-theanine can naturally help bring these levels down, especially dopamine. And then, of course, serotonin, it can help with that as well. So once we, establish the right nutrients and foods and different supplement regimen for her, within just 2 weeks later, she was able to have more energy and focus. And her boss actually noticed a difference. She wasn't having her boss getting on her back, that she was improving at work and was really pleased with her efforts, what she was doing in her output at work. So that is the second possibility. Now, there is another possibility that could be why your ADHD medications might not be working. And I'm going to share another example of a patient of mine, Greg, and he also was taking medications, ADHD medications, but he was struggling for years with ADHD with the medication and didn't see an improvement. In fact, he had more decreased energy. He had decreased focus. His employees, because he was running a business, a construction business, his employees noticed that he wasn't focused and like he used to be. Like things were just getting worse and worse, even though he was taking the medication. So he was wondering, like, why is it not working? Well, we also ran the test to be able to kind of say, okay, what is really going on? And opposite from Jen, he was depleted in all capacity and in the whole process of the dopamine pathway, where his PA levels were low, his tyrosine levels were low, his tyramine, dopamine, norepinephrine, epinephrine, all those levels were low. And so what this tells to me, even though he was taking the medication, there were some important key factors that were being missed in the dopamine pathway. So ADHD medications like Adderall and Ritalin, they usually will target dopamine and norepinephrine, but it still wasn't even doing that. But there was other important parts of the pathway that were not being addressed at all with the medication, which was his PA, which is an excitatory neurotransmitter, and his tyrosine levels were low. So those two alone need to be addressed, but also his epinephrine levels were low as well. So incorporating something like DL, phenylalanine, which is the amino acid that directly helps PA and also tyrosine, and also adding something like Dopa Boost, which I do like. It has like L-Dopa in it, like mecanoparines. It has also L-tyrosine that can help improve the tyrosine levels. Those are going to be more directly impacting some of his other areas that were being missed with his medication. So when we incorporate those things, as well as improving his diet, improving different lifestyle changes to help improve those capacity, 2 weeks later as well, he had more energy. He was back in his A game. He was more productive, and he felt that he was just more younger, to his younger self again, because these things were missing for years for him. And we only would have known that if we actually did investigative work to look at what were the imbalances that were going on there. It's really hard to know with each person. Just like Jen and Greg, there were two completely opposite, right? And if I would have treated Greg the same way that I treated Jen, it would be a different outcome. They wouldn't have gotten the same kind of results. And that's why it's important to do investigative work. But these are, like, I would say, the three common things of why I see people where their ADHD medication isn't working for them is usually with those three areas for the most part. So, I mean, for you, would you like to be able to have, help from us? Like, would you like to have, like, just like Jen and Greg did with us, would you like to actually have further help from us? And so if you do, because, doing this alone, it's definitely not easy. Here's why. You need help to actually find the source of your imbalances and your body chemistry imbalances. That's what was a big moving point for both Jen and Greg, is to actually identify what was wrong in their body chemistry imbalances. And then you do definitely need more of a customized plan of action that's very individualized for you specifically, so you can get the results and outcomes of having that optimal focused mind. And then you also do need someone that can actually, who is going to actually hold you accountable to follow through with the treatment plan, to moving forward, and so that you can be consistent with it and not just getting that one time, result. And so, here's exactly how I can help you. And, my health experts and I, have set aside a time to speak with you personally to help you actually start getting results right away. And so it's called the Focus Mindset Strategy Session. So what's involved in the Focus Strategy Mindset Strategy Session is we'll put together a specific plan for you for your situation to help you actually have better focus so you can excel in your life. And then here's exactly how we'll do this together. First we'll uncover what's behind your ADHD symptoms. It's your blind spots, and it's most likely not what you've been told it is. And then we'll actually customize a plan that will get you unstuck. And then finally, we'll determine if it makes sense for us to work together more closely. So what is in this whole package deal? Basically, you can either book with me or with one of my health experts. It's a 45-minute one-on-one personalized strategy session. It's a $750 value. And then you also, if you do purchase today, you get access to our nutrition and lifestyle tracking app that we use with all our patients and clients. And that is a $300 value. On top of that, if you do purchase today, you get a bonus. You get access to our ADHD health course. That's a $597 value. So with everything that's included, with the 45-minute consultation, you also get the access to the nutrition lifestyle tracking app, and then the bonus of the HD health course. That's a total value of $1,647. And you get that all for just only $297. So all you got to do is click on the link in the description below. Once you have done that, you'll come to the purchasing page, you'll purchase. And this is very, very important. Please don't forget this point. You got to actually book your appointment. So you're going to hit book now. And then you're going to select the practitioner. That's very important. So either select me, or if you want to be seen sooner, you can select with one of our health practitioners that might have sooner availability, and then fill out your information. And this is also very important to make sure to check your email to make sure you have your confirmation email of your appointment, date and time, as well as access to the nutrition and lifestyle tracking app, as well as access to activate your Practice Better account. That's how you're going to fill out the client questionnaire that we need to look over before our appointment. And then, of course, show up on time, and then make sure to show up early and block out about 45 minutes to an hour. So if you truly want to finally tackle your ADHD and getting help and support from us, go ahead and click on that link in the description below, and I'll see you on the other side. Thank you so much for attending. I'll see you guys all in the next live stream. Thanks. Bye.